And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you.
For Yama, Bibiara Kwaba, Eba Juma years. So, now first time I subscribe to the channel and I like a video. I feel so share my after from so it and some and some and Saka F and some Bryan Acheampong at the Tuja and Rana one Vice President Baumia Eco PMO work Biase Eco PMO campaign platform Biase. Now or the same be a tuja and some of the tuja say, and yet their MPP be handing over power to them. Now, NC and NC Ochina, they will hand over power to an MPP government. Now, and same way, or their tuja, some time ago, Nanado Dankwa Akufado and Casa Edisa and Senebi tuja, make I crano or their tuja more than once. Lord Comment so the same way so be a tuja or said. They wouldn't hand over power to them. Now, some time ago, Mahama Suka Assembly, I said we are going to face them boot for boot, but we respect the Constitution of Ghana, and the Constitution of Ghana states that we should resist the oppressor's rule. So, we pesa otani the country constitution upside down. We should resist the oppressor's rule. I know Ama Kevin Taylor I reacted to and Sema Bryan Acheampong Edia to Jano. Kevin Taylor actually baby Bryan Acheampong enya to me free. Why he is speaking this way? MPP for I quiet. MPP is not condemning them. The clergy is not condemning them. Our chiefs are not condemning them. Nemo, the NDC need to say Joseph Yamin and Sema other two Jano. You hear people condemning him say he is inciting violence. Na Kevin Taylor Ede Assembly Atuja and some other two Ejana say MPP is planning something in 2024. Na say Oma appointed Bryan Acheampong as a minister going to appear in cabinet meetings. Senabeya Ombe put two things together to conduct the operations they are planning in 2024. A day normal planning to execute in 2024. Kevin Taylor Eddie Atuja. And the Mepesa Obajebre, Nawati and Sema Kevin Taylor Eddie Tuja. Now, as an abekora subscribe to channel, na click a notification bell also. Like a video, no na share ma afro from NT and Sema Ekoso Ewokana. NT and Sema Kevin Taylor Eddie Tuja.
Now, Mama Yenye Jumanende, na Yenkwenim. It is got to do with Bryan Acheampong. Now, Bryan Acheampong, Abekan Sembi Ewogana ha. Na it do some time at home. It is very important as young Ghanaians, you know, you best sit back, now you analyze it, your ecoso. Now, the statement from Bryan Acheampong, my member statement, you know, and sana, ya strategy media, you know, amobia who the echo.
What did the Patapa? Any party assembly about the year 2024 now. The veteran said we have the ban. The veteran said we have the ban. We have the ban. Say about MPP party here about ban we. See about the platform so me and the power I'm my NDC. Esida. A quite
So nipa wotin in Canada air Bryan Acheampong on the current agric minister, and who shared the passion and the emphatic statement he made. Say to me, to me, say omo MP for Daniama a NDC no, it will never happen. They will do everything, and when they say everything, or say they have the men and said democratically, so lose election and they will never hand over power to the NDC. This is a treasonous statement, and this is a statement at the end of the day in any civilized country. This man, Ankonya Minister Bium, party or joining Ankoma Pamono, anchor the investigations from the police, the hierarchy, and come be investigations. He had been called. But we are in Ghana. We are under the leadership of a tyrant. We are in Ghana where we have the Christian Council, the Islamic Council, we have the Catholic Council, we have all the peace councils, and everybody's quiet. Now, Obebusa will say, what will make Bryan Acheampong stand on a campaign platform, the Vice President of the Republic, Sujinaso, to make such a bold utterance, like these bold statements? What will make Bryan Acheampong do that? Now let's cast our minds back. Who Bryan Acheampong is, but let's cast our minds back. What made Bryan Acheampong, that confidence to make such a treasonous statement? Let's go back. Now, when you listen to the President of the Republic, right before election 2020,
that's what I'm looking for. I want to be able, on the 7th of January 2025, to go to Black Star Square in Accra and hand over the baton of government to the next MPP presidential candidate. What I'm looking for. I want to be able, on the 7th of January 2025, to go to Black Star Square in Accra and hand over the baton of government to the next MPP presidential candidate.
So when you listen to the President of the Republic, you see, say, Bryan Acheampong, they are all taking encouragement and taking something that we call belief from Ekufuado. Now, for Bryan Acheampong to make such a statement, I also say, and yes, sorry, and obey our statement. Remember, time I oka sa asem no na Baumia gina ho, na Baumia was there. So statement that Bryan Acheampong make here na NPP mpenifuo ho. Now Bryan Acheampong DNA share tupa. What gave him that courage? This is the same Bryan Acheampong where we cast our minds back. Olidi Suggs, Emomoko Ayawasi West Wagon. Eko bo Ghana football. This is the same person who led thugs to shoot at Ghanaians as the national security boss of Ghana. Now, when you hear the President of the Republic make such a statement to say, or per se, now buying Danny Abainima or one party now, it is an emphatic statement. It means to say he is not ready to appreciate democracy. He is not ready to respect the democratic process. He is not ready to do what? Also, listen to the Ghanaian who will vote to choose whichever person or whichever party they want them to lead them. It is telling you, sir, president and any MPP, imagine say they will not respect the Constitution of the Republic. Now, it's a sad statement you go for the year, and one pack because it was a slip of tongue. Maybe when they mount stage, some pressure people can send me ABA infinity. ABA not dependent budget is so it can be excused. Now, this is a Kufuado again the second time.
That's what I'm looking for. I want to be able, on the 7th of January 2025, to go to Black Star Square in Accra and hand over the baton of government to the next MPP presidential candidate. Very, very confident of it, that on the 7th of December 2024, the new MPP presidential candidate is going to win the election of 2024. So our objective, our responsibility is to do whatever it is necessary to make sure that that victory is forthcoming.
So this is the president on a second time telling Ghanaians, say, his party will hand over to a Onwana party. And the MPP for everything necessary to make sure 2024 no the 2 national monsa. BM. Now this is the second time a certain president. Remember, J.J. Rawlings now a military man in 1992, and I'll say he wants to move this country into a democratic era, into or the what we call democracy by or say at no point in time, and a J.J. Rawlings na you say na or you to training or you soldier a gina platform. I can say, even though we've moved to what we call democracy, we are going to elect to choose a leader. No, I'm going to make sure that my NDC wins every election. J.J. Rawlings never made such a statement. You know why? Because J.J. Rawlings believed in the process. He believed in democracy. J.J. Rawlings understood that the people, they have the right to choose who leads them. He understood a leader, what your words can do. And this statement is very important. J.J. Rawlings, I know a military man or the Ghana bar a democratic state. He believed and he understood the words of a leader. Leaders, whether you like it or not, it has its own impact on your government and your party. When the Kufuor started making these utterances, he wasn't making it lightly. 2020, people were killed under the leadership of Kufuor. He hasn't spoken about it. Memaninya will say a coincidence. No. Memaninya will say the refi. No. A deliberate. Because they planned to kill to win. Now, when you hear Bryan Acheampong make these kind of emphatic statements to say they will make sure they never hand over power, meaning they will kill because he has led groups to kill before. Now, it is telling you, say, it is something that this Kufuor government are planning to do. Say this is just a mere talk. No. They are planning to kill more, and that is why Kufuor did everything possible to bring Bryan Acheampong back into Ghana's politics by coming to make him a cabinet minister. There is a specific reason why Kufuor did everything possible to bring Bryan Acheampong back, because he needs Bryan Acheampong in his cabinet meetings. When Bryan Acheampong was going to cabinet meetings, you saw what he did at Ayawaso. Now, when Bryan Acheampong exited, he needed him again to come and do more killings. So he needed to create a portfolio for Bryan Acheampong so that he could get access to cabinet briefings. Kufuor forcing his way through to make sure Bryan Acheampong comes back to become a minister. It wasn't just him liking Bryan Acheampong to the point where he can't get anybody in the NPP. Kufuor knows, say, if there's one person who can use power to kill his fellow Ghanaian and then hide behind politics and national security and government and party, it is Bryan Acheampong, because he has a track record. And then Kufuor did everything possible to bring Bryan back. Do you think, say, in the whole MPP, Kufuor could not settle on anybody in his government? No, on Bryan Acheampong. Because Bryan Acheampong no issues 100 that. Bryan Acheampong has his own problems. He's been living with murder cases for all his life. Ayawaso West Wagon, leading thugs. Why do you think Kufuor will be so crazy to say, let me bring the same person? Kufuor knows that if he wants to kill more, he needs hands that have done it before. So he did everything possible to bring back Bryan Acheampong. Until you hearing Bryan Acheampong on the platform, and making such emphatic statements, it wasn't just a stage excitement. It is a fact, because he has killed before and nothing was done to him. A whole commission was put together. Akufo-Addo threw the commission's report away and said, you, Bryan Acheampong, I would need you again. Now, for Bryan Acheampong being just an MP, he does not have access to cabinet. But Bryan Acheampong being a minister, he has access to cabinet. So they can sit there with his Bawumia and Akufo-Addo, the group that wants Bawumia to lead, they can plan how to kill more in 2024. That is why he brought Bryan Acheampong. But this guy today, he feels so powerful. Ojina stage cast and some way, not because Nigerian say Ghana for Bryan Acheampong said that because he wanted the people NPP for say have hope in me. I have done it before, and if you trust me, I will do it again. So that statement he was making, he was reaffirming, or he was reconfirming his comeback to do damage. He was basically touching the nerves of the NPP to tell them, say, I can do that. Because if you want to trust somebody to do something for you, you look for people with experience. And listen me, every day I say I endorse John Mahama because he has experience. You trust Bryan Acheampong with an experience of using Ghana security to go after Ghanaians. In this NPP ni, now say, diabolical team, will say a crowway, the only person you can rely on in the NPP today is somebody who has done it before, somebody who has led the thugs of the NPP to kill Ghanaians before, and that is him. Into that statement he made there in Okono, he made it at Oko because he wanted to exert his comeback. He wanted the NPP to understand that don't give up. You have failed in economy, you have failed in security, you have failed in democracy, the government has failed, but don't give up because I am back. We can kill to hold on to power. So it was a forum for him to then announce his diabolic comeback. That is what he was doing. In this Onya smarter, you might think because everybody knows that the NPP themselves, 90% they know they have lost the elections. Now, it is left with one thing they can capitalize on, using the security against Ghanaians. Until we need somebody to bring that hope back. There are people in the NPP who are happy about MPP killing Ghanaians to win elections. The president hasn't spoken about it. He's happy about it. The vice president, Mahmoud Bawumia, hasn't spoken about it. He's happy about it. Alan Kodo-Kyeremate hasn't spoken about the killings in Techiman. He's happy. Kennedy Acheampong is happy. All the NPP gurus, they're happy. Why do you think they have not condemned it? Because they know that is the only way they can win election 2024. It's Bryan Acheampong, he was just basically coming to announce to them, to tell them, you have lost hope. Don't lose hope. I have done it before. Go back, check my record. You know that I can do it again. And this is Bryan Acheampong's record. And this is what he was reminding them.
It was a normal morning. Electorates began queuing very early, some as early as 6 a.m. to cast their ballots peacefully and dash to work. Early reports suggested the process began smoothly, but eyebrows were raised about the presence of heavily armed security personnel, as many as 6 per polling station across the constituency. Political party agents were vigilant and ordinary people watched from afar, but it was an unusual election day. Heavily armed masked men in bulletproof vests, dressed in black polo shirts and khaki trousers, marked NSC as agents of the National Security Council, seen in police pickups, crisscrossed the main streets towards Baoleshi, a known NDC stronghold. The arrival of the operatives in Rambo style surprises all. About 25 hooded men in 5 pickups or so jump off. In a well-orchestrated plan, they run across the compound where voters had queued waiting for their turn, creating fear and panic. Journalists begin taking pictures, and that provokes the indiscriminate mayhem visited on them. A senior immigration officer at the scene is captured placing an SOS call as he takes cover. In this video, the suspected NPP Invisible Force members are captured beating a man mercilessly, kicked in the face, whilst others pounce on any civilian in sight, punching them and beating others with the butt of their guns. The chaos forces people to flee as policemen try desperately in vain to restrain the NSC agents. After about 6 minutes, they proceed to their next target, the residence of the NDC parliamentary candidate, Delali Kesi few yards away behind the Bauleshi Presby Basic 1 JHS polling station. His house is besieged by the armed men, threatening to shoot as they are confronted by the NDC candidate supporters. They point guns as they demand access to search the house, open fire with live bullets, leaving at least 18 injured. 2 near-fatal cases were recorded. Bullet shells and bloodstains outside the residence attract onlookers, while irate persons seeking to fight back are seen being calmed by the police.
Don't take the laws into your own hands. The police, we are managing the situation.
Senior officers, including Director in Charge of Operations Greater Accra, Chief Superintendent Kesi, rush to the scene but look on helplessly.
They are not your men.
I don't know those who came here.
Do you know the men on the ground?
This is something that we need to investigate. But I don't know those who came here. So because all my policemen are not marked. You can see from wherever.
So you know the men on the ground. You know your men on the ground.
I know the men on the ground,
and they are not marked.
And I can see them when I see them.
MP for Ningo Pram Pram, Sam George, is seen questioning the shooting incident. He is confronted for daring to face them, and he gets his first slap. Listen and watch carefully as one of the men shouts, "This is the beginning of 2020. In the chaos, police reinforcement and military teams arrive, armed but unable to stop the violence. The masked men return to the school compound, finish up with more beatings before setting off. The voting center is deserted while officers try to secure the ballot box and voting materials. NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo rushes to the scene, meets the traumatized candidate, and announces NDC's decision to boycott the polls after a brief meeting to prevent the violence from escalating.
Today is a very sad day for democracy, and the NDC as a party cannot and will not be part of this exercise. Therefore, we are asked our agents to withdraw.
In less than an hour, more police couples arrive at the scene. It is obvious that the operation was planned on the blind side of some service commanders, as military officers in the pickups seemed blacked out and had no orders. News spreads fast on radio, on various online portals, TV, and of course, social media, attracting more officials to the scene. MPP General Secretary John Buedu arrives and blames the NDC for orchestrating the violence.
You see, this is the impression that opponents want to create in order to scare people from coming to vote.
NDC hurriedly arranges news conference to restrain supporters who besieged the party headquarters, demanding directives to fight back. MPP reacts almost immediately, and this is how the Director of Communications and MP for Adenta, Yao Boabena Samwa, summarizes their position.
The NDC leadership has behaved recklessly, cowardly manner. They appear not to have been prepared for the election. This was an orchestrated attempt which has failed.
Statements condemning the violence begin to pour in. Codeo, security analysts, civil society groups, the UNDP are amongst the first. Former President John Dramani Mahama cuts short his campaign tour in the Volta region and dashes to Accra to meet victims on admission at a 37 military hospital. But before that, he sends a strong message to the MPP and President Akufo-Addo.
And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the Constitution. But the same Constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the Constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's Constitution, and we have a right to resist you.
The violence begin to pour in. Codeo, security analysts, civil society groups, the UNDP are amongst the first. Former President John Dramani Mahama cuts short his campaign tour in the Volta region and dashes to Accra to meet victims on admission at a 37 military hospital. But before that, he sends a strong message to the MPP and President Akufo-Addo.
And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the Constitution. But the same Constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the Constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's Constitution, and we have a right to resist you.
Codeo issues preliminary report citing one instance where a police officer is assaulted for questioning one of the NSC operatives at Roman Ridge polling station. EC reacts, insisting the election was very peaceful, free and fair. Election results are declared. Turnout very low, confirming the violent incident. 19.83% of the over 88,000 in the voters register participated. Calls for the head of the IGP, David Asante Pietu, intensifies. The police administration issues a statement announcing immediate and thorough investigations. Minister of State in charge of national security at the office of the President, Bryan Acheampong, appears defiant and claims in an interview the men were from his outfit and acted on orders based on intelligence. Hear him speak on Accra-based City FM.
There were some uniformed and some plainclothes security operatives. It happens all the time.
So did this include people who were wearing masks?
Absolutely. You saw them there. They were not hiding.
Government's posture and that of President Bryan Acheampong appears defiant and claims in an interview the men were from his outfit and acted on orders based on intelligence. Hear him speak on Accra-based City FM.
There were some uniformed and some plainclothes security operatives. It happens all the time.
So did this include people who were wearing masks?
Absolutely. You saw them there. They were not hiding.
Government men were from his outfit and acted on orders based on intelligence. Hear him speak on Accra-based City FM.
There were some uniformed and some plainclothes security operatives. It happens all the time.
So did this include people who were wearing masks?
Absolutely. You saw them there. They were not hiding.
Government's posture and that of EC provokes public anger. Officers in the Ghana Armed Forces and the police begin to leak photos and videos exposing identities of some of the secret NSC operatives and their bases. In the heat of the public discourse and brewing tension, President Akufo-Addo jets off on an 8-day tour of South Africa, Ethiopia, and the US, where he will join a fundraising event in Washington, D.C. to build a national cathedral in Ghana. Thus, 3 days after the incident, and he fails to visit patients on admission. His absence attracts more criticisms. More than a week after the incident, no arrest has still been made. An updated police statement only says 12 people have been questioned, and these are all victims, including the assaulted MP, Sam George. For now, there's still uncertainty, and security analysts fear more violence in 2020. Political parties and some CSOs have, however, served notice through a demonstration, sending a strong signal to government. The police are yet to invite the National Security Minister Bryan Acheampong, who is under pressure to resign or be sacked. A 3-member commission of inquiry chaired by former Shraj boss Francis Emil Short is now tasked to investigate the matter. Proceedings will be telecast live, but the opposition NDC has already served notice it does not trust the commission's work, citing possible bias and cover-ups. Refers to the former IGP under Kufuor regime, Mr. Patrick Kwatine Acheampong and Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu as MPP apparatchiks. For now, Ghanaians will take a wait-and-see posturing as doubt lingers on, with fears heightening as the country approaches a much bigger election in 2020.
So this is a brief story to give you a clear understanding of what is happening today. So the gentleman who did this led the maiming of Ghanaians, terrorizing people during elections, has been given another room, another opportunity to come with his experience to come finish another job in 2024. Now, all that he watched was in 2020, before 2020 elections. Bryan Acheampong orchestrated a time and now the boss of national security. This was before election 2020. So you ask yourself, what happened? Were they still taking inspiration from a Kufuor statement to say he will hand over power to a NPP in 2024? Yes. Because when you go to the Jubilee House, you see somebody like this who is also in charge of a lot of things in the Jubilee House, whose bodyguard killed a civilian. I'm talking about Lord Comey. His own bodyguard killed a civilian during election 2020. The president didn't speak about it. The vice president didn't speak about it. Alan Kodo Tremantan Kanwasem, Kennedy Japan Kanwasem, NPP majority in parliament did not speak about it. These same people, who were they taking inspiration from? They were taking inspiration from the president of the republic.
When ex-president J.J. Rawlings, the Western world was putting pressure on him. It is time to hand over to a democratic rule in Ghana. He says, hand over to whom? And I'm Refiana. There was a certain first lady in this country who is still alive. At a point, he told us openly, plain language, was say MPP for Yanko Kumasi magazine, na Yanko Shishebi, and Fama J. Kufuor, Mantiana. It tells you that what you call power. Hey, me say adia your friend to me. Say nyame wa dum na se wo som say na se wan som ya adia be ye wo no me say adia be ye wo no me say I don't care who becomes national chairman, I don't care who becomes flag bearer. What I care is that the MPP continues to rule in this country. Power. It's the pettiness and some who here and talk on who when you be so at the MBO now was a open. Never again, Mr. Chairman, is what we should resolve leaving this conference this afternoon. Never again that this thing would ever happen to the New Patriotic Party. Charge you. Break the earth, break the earth, break the earth. Adani slogan. Oh.
So you can see, and yet just mere talk. It is something that they have planned. On say, I was West Wagon, Assembly Sieno, Ebesinde, Baumian Kebi, Ekufuadon Kebi, Alankashin Kebi, Efriakoton Kebi, Canadian Kebi. 90% of the people are mentioned are all cabinet members. Because the Ayawa West Wagon, any election 2020 chaos, no, it was planned at cabinet. See, Bryan Acheampong now, who was eliminated after Ayawaso West Wagon, they needed him to come back and fill that position because there is another job to be done in 2024. Now, in 2020 elections, DNC, we saw the same thing Ayawaso replicate or done again in 2020 elections. The same thing comes again, or the same question comes again. Did the president speak about election 2020? No. Did the Kufuado Bawumia speak about the violence in election 2020? No. Did you hear Alan Koretra Mantinsa Waka 2020 killings, Techiman South one sem? No. What they say, cabinet minister Efri Yakuta Kebi? No. Kennedy, what is what Kebi? Because it is always planned at cabinet. And because they don't want anybody to break that cabinet secrecy, they needed Bryan Acheampong, who was out of cabinet, to join cabinet so that it will be intact for them to carry their job. Remember, Asama Esi Woko, Ama Bryan Acheampong Kandi Okano. Bryan Acheampong spoke before Bawumia. Inti Bawumia Jimmy Krano, Opesa or president. He's saying Ghanaians respect him, or say Ghanaians see him different from a Kufuor who is a tyrant, Bawumia was supposed to say, some of my colleagues have made some strong statements here, but I believe maybe it's because of the occasion. That's why people are making some strong statements. I don't believe that is how we have to keep power. But Bawumia ignored it because it's a cabinet decision. Because he does what? He supports every single case when it comes to murdering Ghanaians to keep power. Bawumia has always supported Ayawaso West Wagon. He's never spoken against it. Bawumia has always supported election 2020 killings. He has never spoken against it. Into Bawumia sharing the same stage. Or Bryan Acheampong freeing cry about at the same stage, it was something they had discussed. Because Bryan Acheampong for long, he needed to let people know he is back. And what is he back to do? He's back to kill. He's back to do the slaughtering. He's back to make sure the NPP kills to win election 2024. Bryan Acheampong speaking right before Bawumia, it wasn't a joke. It was planned. And remember, Bryan Acheampong is in Bawumia's camp. Now, Mamen Kami Binchamo. Asame Siwo Ayawaso West Wagon, the statements they made, any election 2024. Now, every single thing that we are talking about today, Bryan Acheampong, Ayawaso West Wagon, the MPP did what? They applauded it. In fact, after Bryan Acheampong leading thugs and killers, murderers, to go out there and murder Ghanaians, beat Ghanaians during an election, he was bold enough to sit on radio and TV to brag about it, to let Ghanaians know, say, ayo nukura nanka indirectly or you're in charge of that and cleaner job. That means ankobe did them more abra anka enye public sir. The statement Bryan Acheampong made on the Chrome radio station say anka yonwa trust him to do a clean job. When he says that, he's trying to tell you, say, anka yonwa anka juma no mu ye no anka enye chaotic sir. Even though we wanted to send a message, say, but this is the same man who accepted on City FM, say, the men who were out there, the men who were brutalizing Ghanaians, the men who were killing Ghanaians are his men. Later, Akroma say, trust me to do a clean job because I did not do this. That is why you saw what you saw. It means, but he was the same person on radio. So when he went to his hometown, this is what he did. Now, the reason why I'm building this, Medeba Besiso Acheampong document be who Bryan Acheampong is. And why you don't have to give sensitive security positions to mad dogs. Because the moment you give sensitive security positions to mad dogs, they don't know how to handle it. All that they have to do is use force. And that is what Bryan Acheampong used when he was given a sensitive security job in the Ghana Intelligence Unit. He was given a job to be the national security boss because the intelligence is not there. It has got to do with application of force. And anytime he's given the opportunity, he thinks, say, using gun, pressurizing the people, submerging the constitution, making sure that people are forcing to admit to what he says, he's always using force because we need that intellectual know-how. Now, Bryan Acheampong does not have the certificate he says he has. Bryan Acheampong does not have any qualification. A man here, one of the highest ranking members in the U.S. Army also. He doesn't. And I'll back it with facts. Bryan Acheampong is not supposed to be given too much access to our security in Ghana. Because every single thing Bryan Acheampong said on his resume is a lie. It is 1% and they are true. So after he did the damage, he went to his hometown, and this is how he bragged about, at the end of the day, using military thugs, using murders against civilians, Ghanaians.
One, I think the only reason why, again, I came into this fray is because I worked at National Security, and then I also was the only one that spoke on City FM. And therefore, all guns should turn on me for that day.
But not the minister himself.
It's all right. I don't want to go that far. But a lot of people have died in these kinds of things, where you are being accused wrongly, or because of something that you have said, you are being chased here and there. So I think that's the reason. Why is it that when national security is mentioned, listen, I'm a young guy. I'm a young guy. I'm very much trained in this business of intelligence and security. I'm highly experienced in this business of intelligence and security, both in education and practical field training. And therefore, it is very easy for me to understand issues and explain it in a way that the operatives will understand, the agents will understand, and I'm a politician, so I can also break it down for the public to understand. So maybe that kind of active mind puts me in the fore, and therefore every so often when national security is mentioned, and also, I mean, it is also very true that when you want things done, when you want things done well, you call Bryan. It's not a bad.
What do you call Bryan boss? I don't know Bryan boss now.
I'm saying Obiawono, he's a fine pair of hands. It is also very true that when you want things done, when you want things done well, you call Bryan.
So basically, he leads different groups of thugs to go maim Ghanaians, shoot at Ghanaians. Then he goes back to his Oko, sit on radio and brag about it. Now, when he was speaking in this video, he said he's got some serious background in intelligence. He's highly experienced when it comes to the practical and the training. So if you want somebody who can hide behind national security, hide behind politics, hide behind the government, and kill Ghanaians, you call Bryan. And he bragged about it. So you need to understand to say, Bryan Acheampong, at the end of the day, the NPP, they see Bryan Acheampong as the killer hook when it comes to killing for them to be in power. Bryan Acheampong does not represent anything in the NPP. Bryan Acheampong does not represent anything outside his political life. He represents a thug who leads thugs to unleash mayhem on Ghanaians. That is why he was saying this in his own hometown. And I'm ashamed of the vice president to also mount the same stage and hail Bryan Acheampong by not condemning his statement that is treasonous. Baumia also mounts stage and he endorses Bryan Acheampong's statement. And my second statement goes to the Omahine of Ko Mahine. Obia Jina wasasa so. Onana ejina wasasa so. Aka say Ghana. Omu as a political party. Omu bekum. So ankaso omu bekum kono say. Omu mpene emfa to me ma another political party. Oyo hine kesiye. What wasasa so. Today, your land wasasa so. And when history ever back, because and Ghana's destruction started. Because in 2024, when people don't agree to the killings of the NPP and they try to fight back, it all goes back to statement. Into who call my hin now also to one. You are excited, you are happy. So our SARS declare the destruction of Ghana. It will be in the history books. Into uyo hineno na uyo hineno asya saying. One kasa wona na ejina ukrum and in the history books of Ghana. Ko is where Ghana's the destruction of Ghana started. Because in election 2024, whatever happens, we will refer ourselves back to Ko. The statement Bryan Acheampong made said they will kill and they will never hand over power, even if the NPP loses elections. And you are excited, you are happy. Now the question here is, before I come to Bryan Acheampong in some more kind or so, today, say about 2024, this is Bryan Acheampong's investment. This is Rock City. Where investment of Bryan Acheampong didn't see oku. This is what Bryan Acheampong has been able to build. Our friend Rock City. And I will assure every Ghanaian, from the statement Bryan Acheampong made, if this thing still exists after 2024 and there's chaos in Ghana, then we Ghanaians are stupid. If Bryan Acheampong's investment still exists in Ghana after 2024, election does not go smoothly. Now, the NPP starts to think, they can use some thugs to kill. And if this thing still exists in Ghana, then I'll be very, 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 I'll be so disappointed in young Ghanaians. Because if Ghana is going to go down, say Nipa Bako Krato in election 2024, this Rock City needs to be burned down, including Bryan Acheampong himself. If this government, they try anything silly, and this is going to Ghanaians, because Ghana does not belong to Bryan Acheampong and the NPP. Ghana belongs to all of us. But because we don't want that to happen, we all reserved it. But Bryan Acheampong, after killing people at Ayawaso, this is what they would do, because he has done it before. Then Bryan Acheampong, his family, and this is Rock City, does not have to exist after election 2024 if things don't go smoothly the way the Constitution has stated. That means Bryan himself needs to go down, and Bryan's investment needs to also go down, because dear Bryan Acheampong kan and Danipa bitrim so mo beku nipa more. 2020 they killed. 2018 they killed. So nothing can convince me say in 2024 they will not kill. If even one soul dies, Bryan Acheampong needs to go down, and his Rock City with his hotel, everything needs to bend down, because Bryan Acheampong is not bigger than the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The NPP is not bigger than the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Bryan Acheampong and his government, they are not important than any Ghanaian. If we will make sure we take care of them for us to have our democracy intact and our country intact, that it is better Bryan goes down, his Rock City goes down, for Ghana to be the Ghana we have all cherished and Ghana that we have all prayed for. Because we cannot lose Ghana and allow Bryan and his co-hosts to live. We didn't want to say all these things until Bryan Acheampong made Ghanaians understand Rock City is in Ko. It is easy to basically do what? Petrol bomb Rock City. Four rules. It is easy to destroy it. It is easy to burn it down. It is easy to burn Bryan Acheampong down. Because if Bryan Acheampong does not respect the constitution of this country, the democratic process of this country, Bryan Acheampong thinks it's all about power, then he has to take the fall. His investment has to take the fall before any Ghanaian. I will not risk the life of any Ghanaian and allow Bryan to walk on the streets of Ghana and allow Bryan's investment to be still operating. It means Bryan goes down and we save our nation. Yehubida. And from 2018-19, every 2020, they basically showed us that their Bryan Acheampong, they will do it again. This is the NPP in 2020. And what did they do? All the way from 2017. We cannot take these people as jokers. They are murderers and they mean what they say.
Ghana, a peaceful country and a beacon of democracy in its fourth republic, has had violent free elections and transitioned power peacefully without any unrest or civil strife. This has become effortlessly possible because of the peace-loving leaders Ghanaians have successfully elected to lead them. President Kufuor in 2007 perfectly described the attributes of the type of person to lead Ghanaians at all times.
So anybody who is always full of tension and fighting and that sort of thing, we have to be careful about. Whether when the power is given to this person to lead us, he's the type with the experience and with all due respect, the wisdom to be able to keep the country united, to secure the nation, to gain the respect of the forces, the military, the police, the chiefs. Look out for that, because we know the history. Some people have been given power only to lose it just like that. We don't want that.
Even so, this peaceful and beautiful country was handed to Nana Akufo-Addo on the 7th January 2017 as president to lead for 4 years. Many people had reservations about his violent nature, which may have been well hidden from the public, but not from those who knew him best. Mr. Kofi Kumsen, a close friend of President Nana Addo, bluntly stated,
I can't entrust Ghana into the hands of Nana Akufo-Addo. I can't sleep. It's not safe. It's not safe. And I believe that.
Then there's Maxwell Kofi-Juma.
He will be a terrible president.
President Nana Addo's violent nature became immediately apparent as a warlord sponsoring his party hoodlums to attack innocent citizens and public officers alike, as was seen with the beating of ASP Nanka Bruce at the presidency in front of a paralyzed security on the 9th January 2017, just 2 days after Nana Addo had been sworn in as president. President Nana Addo surrounded himself with hoodlums as bodyguards and endorsed vigilante groups such as Invincible Force and Delta Force. Members of these vigilante groups had free rein to attack anyone who was not a member of the president's political party. They went on a rampage, causing mayhem and atrocities on anyone who disagreed with or criticized Nana Addo's government. President Nana Addo's own appointee, the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, was heckled, manhandled, and dragged from out of his office like a rat. Not even our courts were spared by these hoodlums. They vandalized court proceedings and broke free fellow members from judicial justice while attacking the sitting judge in the process. The Ayawaso West Wagon by-election was President Nana Addo's first test of leadership for peaceful elections in the country. Instead, a battalion of his party hoodlums, dressed in SWAT uniforms and armed with lethal weapons, were discharged to visit mayhem and brutalities on innocent citizens who were simply exercising their constitutional right to vote. The aim of these hoodlums was primarily to intimidate voters in the opponent's stronghold and to prevent a free and fair elections. They fired several rounds of gunshots in and around a polling center targeted at Ghanaians, which led to a bloodbath just for a by-election. All this happened under the explicit and tacit approval of President Nana Addo. These barbarisms happened without a single condemnation from the president. He immediately flew out of the country to attend a concert, leaving bloodied victims to their fate. He gleefully ignored the recommendations of the Ayawaso West Wagon Commission of Inquiry report by issuing a white paper to whitewash these crimes against Ghanaians. Otumfuo Osei Tutu II advised sternly, and I quote, Elections with integrity mean the electoral contest, both in their preparation and their conduct, must be free and fair and not disfigured by political motivated violence. They must take place on a level playing field with parties and candidates able to campaign to put their case across and the electorate free to cast their votes without fear or intimidation. President Nana Addo sat in front of the Asantehene Otumfuo said Tutu II and jokingly lamented without any apology or remorse, saying in part, "I will not ignore such issues. The law applies to everyone in Ghana. I know it is of concern to you, but do not worry. We will ensure that everything is resolved." My fellow Ghanaians, has this been resolved? Have things been resolved as the president promised Otumfuo? Has Nana Addo disbanded these vigilante groups? Did we not in fact see these hoodlums on rampage again in K2 South, Banda, and elsewhere in the just ended new voter compilation exercise?
So basically, this is what they've been doing. And went on and on, election 2020, and people were killed. Now, after Bryan Acheampong making his statement, some people came out speaking on Bryan Acheampong's statement. In fact, the NDC released a statement. And in their statement, they were telling the Ghana Police Service, led by Dampare, that Bryan Acheampong's statement near treasonous. And that statement say a handoni ye, and if Bryan Acheampong is not brought in to, in fact, speak for the police to interrogate him on the reasons why he made that statement. This statement could creep into election 2024. The democracy we've been enjoying, that democracy, we will lose it. Today, the NPP responded. And when you hear or read the response from the NPP, why Junebel says, Sebio, NPP as a political party, no, Nipa omu no wen. Enyansafona omu wen. Now, the NPP's defense, and this issue, say, they are right to defend Bryan Acheampong. They are right because when this same Bryan Acheampong, Ayawaso West Wagon, case buyer, or the thugs, murderers, criminals, Ekobo Ghana Fotuno, Emma and Lunti John Mahama can say the NDC is not a timid party, and that if any political party or any individual, because Constitution can clearly says so Obia sorry say they are going to stand up against the will of the people, and the Constitution makes it clear that we the citizens should fight back because our democracy is important and it is the right of every single Ghanaian to protect it. The NDC is not a violent party, but if these things keep going on, say ayawasu incidents of Bryan Acheampong DHA emeku ebo Ghana photo ne koswa, the NDC will have no option. As citizens of Ghana who respect the Constitution, they will defend the right of the Ghanaian. And the MPP says our statement na John Mahama kai ninti omu jinaso say omu be kumo krana Bryan Acheampong so be kumo, they support it. This is your NPP. Mena oka say ahemfo akesi omo Ghana, asofo akesi omo Ghana, imams akesi omo Ghana, statesmen, doctors, people who say they know more than we know. Every single individual, in fact, majority of them are quiet. I saw Dr. Nyao Tamaklo rebuke Bryan Acheampong. Dr. Nyao Tamaklo is a founding member of the NPP. He has come out quickly to rebuke Bryan because he does not represent a party that at the end of the day does not respect the Constitution. He does not represent a party that at the end of the day thinks that they can kill to maintain power. So Nyao Tamaklo about Bontabeka say, Sansamna Bryan kind of a bodam sem. The party he's part of, which is the NPP, no, and ya abodam for say they respect the Constitution. To date, we have not seen anyone from the NPP or Nyanseni to say Nyao Tamaklo to condemn Bryan Acheampong, but rather their Pentium 2 General Secretary na na adwene what form to say Pentium 2 no. Their so-called chairman now uhuno obewuno. They are still behind the reckless treasonous statement of Bryan Acheampong. It should tell you clearly, say, the NPP of today is made up of people who support killing. And it's not the on platforms. NPP today, Sanko Fowe, this party is a killing machine. This NPP, they came to kill Ghanaians, and consistently they have shown it. So, what you are seeing the whole MPP, a political party, releasing a statement and making some vague excuses and blaming things that they are not supposed to blame. No, it clearly shows the values and principles of the NPP is gone. Enyansa for pano ano more NPP una ne huom so many nyansa mote party no munyine frim, because what will make the whole party executive write a letter to protect or defend a treasonous statement? Let's say NDC for make a treasonous statement. Is it right for the MPP to make such statement? Is it right for NPP, the party in government, to support treasonous statement? It shows clearly that this party, MPP, no, they've lost focus, who think that they can use guns, they can use the EC, they can keep intimidating and killing people to hold on to power. Because if I'm the leader of the NPP, now says NDC for make a treasonous statement, I will never defend any NPP person who will make treasonous statement in a democratic nation. Never. Unless I'm a fool, unless it's a Jimmy, unless it's a Minimu Nyansa, unless it's a Ghana for no, I don't care about them. I only care about power.
For where the Masumo and Sema Kevin Taylor at the Atu Ejanye were reacted to and Sema Bryan Acheampong at the Atuja and now only Dr. Mahmoud Baumia Eco PMO a campaign platform Biase Emma and Sema the Tuja and say and ya dear MPP will hand over power to NDC na enya dia ebesi that they will do anything possible to maintain power in 2024. Sometimes Obebisa won't say if they have done something to really sustain power, they do not have to fight for power. Ghanaians themselves will give them the power. And the end how 2024 election goes. After so no Kevin Taylor sang Kasafa and Simon Anado Dankwa Akufo-Addo Ankasa Edetuja Efa his plan to hand over power to an NDC government. After so the Nsema Lord Komi Edetuja Efa NDC won't have Efa MPP won't hand over power to NDC, you know, and also Wakasafa. No why other clergy and other people we are expecting them to speak. They are quiet. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is quiet. Kennedy Acheampong is quiet, and other MPP gurus are also quiet on this matter. Macro.